Alright, so I think I made quite a bit of progress this week. I decided to move on to movement, specifically player movement and monster movement, and also monster spawning. So I've come up with three monsters. I have a blob dropship, a blob adult, and a blob baby. And I guess we'll just get to the payoff first. I have this list of items here that are in my scene, but they're deactivated. I will take this blob dropship, I'll move it up to -10. It's my airplane. Sounds funny saying that, airplane, but it's my plane that represents my nav mesh for the air. I don't even know if I need this. I don't know if I'll have any obstacles in the air. I would like to have the mountains extend up into the air and create small areas that you can't fly through, but we'll see. Moving my object up to the plane for the air movement, and then I will spawn him. And he'll come over to me, and when he gets close enough, he will spawn a blob adult. The blob adult will go to this location, and after 5 seconds, it'll spawn little blobs, and it'll do that 4 times. Great starting point, I think, for how I want the AI to sort of work in this game. So bases where they churn out units and send them after you. In order to do that, well, we've got to have targets, we've got to have the enemies, and everything's got to know where everything is. So I'll just show you how that all comes together. We got the object pool, and what I did was I found a nice generic object pooler and customized it to my needs. So now the object pooler takes a monster dictionary to make the pool. The monster dictionaries look like this. This is how I'm doing the names right now to just be able to call things by name. I can serialize this and be able to change it in the editor, and that's great. I use my blob dictionary, which is subclass of my monster dictionary, going to eventually contain all the stuff, all the settings for the monster. Use that to make my pool, and that's all the items uh, spawned at the beginning of the game and deactivated. One of the tools that I used to be able to do this was a serializable dictionary. It's made by these guys, Rotary Heart. Get it from the asset store. I'll put links to the generic polar and the serialized dictionary in the video description. I need to be able to see this to debug it. And those show up here. So these are those serialized so that you can see what's going on in the dictionary. It's pretty helpful. Looks really nice. I like it. I guess I could show you how I did the animations. I've been messing with a bunch of animations. This is some of the stuff that I'm messing with. Just fun little stuff like this. At this point, I think all the monsters are going to be a completely blob based, but I had an idea to put a blob inside here, and he would drop the blob, and that's where I thought I was going to go with it. But it's pretty easy to animate in Sprite. Again, I don't know how to say it, but so if we hide the ship, this is the only part that moves. So just go through and draw each frame. When you're done, you'll have an animation. I don't know. I don't know how much that helps you, but I just sat here and spent an hour and a half figuring out how to do it. And I think it looks pretty cool, even though I'm not going to use it. Um, the blob was way easier. The blob adult. This was way easier. You start with a circle and sort of squish him down and make his legs move. I think it looks okay. Yep, that's what I've been doing this week, and what I hope to do over the next week is give the player the ability to spawn these targets. So I have debug targets. So these are my test targets. And the target script has another enum of target types. Easily just pick a target from a list. I've also got this partition map, which I'm going to use to find out which targets are closest. Easily go through that list and find the closest one. Partition map is only going to store static things like the base and the player placed turrets and obstacles that you place in the environment. Everything else is going to just sort of hold on to its cell location to be able to just sort of know if you're in the same cell. So things that walk by things will attack those things. That's what I'm going to use the partition map for. Everything else, it's probably going to loop through all the items that the player's placed and find the closest one to attack that or move towards that. The player will place things out and they will be marked as targets. The player will be marked as a target, and different enemies will have different targets based on what their preference is. I'll have things that go out and they're just sent out to destroy barricades and things. The player will place a barricade and he'll be a heavy, maybe running with the mob towards the player, towards the base, and he's going to prioritize breaking down barricades. I've got the beginnings of that system in place. I want to explore the target system a little bit more and make that a little bit more robust. Oh yeah, I didn't even talk about the camera. It's Cinemachine. Made it really easy to control the camera, at least for now. As you can see, I've got a missing sprite, but the Cinemachine camera is set up to follow a group. I've got the player in the mouse position, and what I've done is, as you can see, the mouse position is not the same place as the actual mouse position. I've clamped the magnitude to make it so that it doesn't pan you outside of the screen. You see, if I push up on the mouse and go down, it can almost scroll you off the screen if the radius is too large for that group, because what it does is it tries to keep that group inside of the camera space. So if this were any farther out, then eventually your ship gets cut off, just the way the camera panning works. But I like the way it moves. I think it's pretty good. It's framing decently and good enough for now. And so I've got the left click is the shoot, and it looks weird because it's not right. It just doesn't shoot the right place. And I've got a little right click boost, so if I right click it'll just launch me. And it's an additive effect, so I can launch and still move to the left or to the right, but you're fighting against the boost. So yep, I think that's pretty much everything I've done this week. It's been pretty busy, and well, I hope you learned something. I'll see you next week.